Sunshine!
You're watching Today I Grew Up.
To infinity and beyond!
Hey, howdy, hey, partners. It's Today I Grew Up. Really excited today because I have the fan request. Finally, we've got a hold of Mason and Morgan, the Toy Story 3 in real life guys. I can't believe I'm here with you guys. Please let us know, it's been 2 years since Toy Story 3 in real life. And I know I've been watching it over and over again over that time. But tell us, where you guys are at now, 2 years later from the release of the video, and anything you want to share an update on, like, what's life been like this last 2 years since you released this amazing project?
Today, we're actually, we've moved on to still Andy's room.
Nice.
Not location-wise, I would say not a whole lot has changed. I mean, we're still in Iowa. We're still...
But in terms of like our occupation,
yeah,
I guess we've launched into that. I guess when we were working on the movie, it kind of took a lot of our time, and we had to finish it up quick so we kind of could get into a career. Right. So we're in marketing right now. We
Nice.
make ads, content creation for a bunch of different clients. It may not be as interesting as Toy Story, but it's creative and it's what we like doing. So
yeah, and I think that's great. I mean, a lot of people forget that Toy Story isn't just somebody. It's impossible for it to be somebody's life every day. For for me, like, it is the majority of my day. But this is a career choice that I took. Before this, I was a therapist. I have a marriage family therapist degree. And I was a psychologist for 9 years in the field. So before I even did this stuff. So
that's awesome. Yeah. And congratulations.
Thank you
on the silver play button.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so excited.
How long did it take to get that? Like, how long did it take to get into?
So like you guys, I do the long game, and I've been working on YouTube for 10 years. And the last 4 years, I treated it like a business. I took it from hobby to like, let's make it a business. Then the numbers started skyrocketing from like 8,000 followers to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And then eventually I figured it out.
Sure.
And so it's like, okay, now I know how to get maybe to 200, 300. I'm going to keep always going for more, but I'm happy with where I'm at. If I never get another award, I'm okay. Like, I just wanted the silver play button.
Yeah.
So I'm okay.
It's awesome. Way to be. Yeah. You got the giveaways going. I mean, you're doing it.
Thank you.
Living the dream.
Actually, I was going to ask you guys, like, how did you guys find out about Today I Grew Up? Did you guys see it through Google search like most everybody? Or like,
it probably popped up in our recommended.
Probably,
every Toy Story video ever is in our recommended.
It's like, that's what I assumed. People find me that way, but that's really cool. But no, I brought you on, guys, because I really want to talk about, obviously the minutia of things too, but like, I'm just so like excited that you guys were so committed to do a project like Toy Story 3 in real life. And I mean, I do scenes. I don't do the whole movie because I'm one person. It's impossible for me. At least you guys are brothers, right? You guys are like a little team.
It's a lot of work, right? Yeah.
It's a lot of work. And even for me, when I do a 3-minute scene, it takes me 7 hours sometimes to do it. It takes time. It just takes a lot of time. And it's live action too. I can't even imagine the stop motion. For example, you guys just released a stop motion Lightyear toys video.
Yeah.
Were you guys both doing that together, or was it just one of you?
It was just me.
Cool. Nice. That's awesome. How long does it take you to do a video like that? Even though I know it's like a minute or something.
It's very similar to some of the Toy Story 3 in real life stuff. It'll take, I don't know, like 2 days, like 2 full days of shooting, I would say. That makes sense. And then the editing is where it takes longer, like a week or so.
Yeah, that's awesome. And this reminds me of when I talked to JP and Beyond about their live action Toy Story, and they inspired me to do what I do. And I've had them on this podcast too. And one of the things that they were offered was they actually got to tour Pixar facility and do all that. Yeah. Did you guys get any opportunities like that after you guys released
those lucky ducks?
Well, as soon as we sent it out and it really started picking up, when we uploaded it, the world shut down.
When that's right.
Began.
Makes sense.
So and I don't even know if they really are doing that much now. I know that some actors and things in their movies go and things like that, but I don't know if they're super open to inviting whoever. I know that even some employees still are just working from home. So no, we never really heard anything like that.
And
Okay.
even if you look at a lot of like the behind the scenes stuff, or like if there's any content of like Angus McLean like doing something for Lightyear, a promo piece at Pixar, there's nobody in the background. Like,
Yep.
so
That's,
it seems like a really big hybrid situation
Yeah.
there still,
no,
because
I
of the world that we're living in.
without ousting them, I'm actually friends with an employee at Pixar, and they explained the situation. Basically, it is a hybrid right now, and the only people that are allowed in are like D23 events that are very few and far
Okay.
between.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of those, or employee guests, but you still have to be like, negative
Have the-
tests, and show
Oh,
yeah,
the vaccination and all that. So yeah, right now it's not open yet. So I think it's still a very closed
Yeah.
environment. So yeah.
And,
not
and maybe that's, the best for right now.
Yeah.
Wait
Yeah.
until they're ready for it. And
It's
Yeah.
definitely a weird time.
yeah.
And I think how did that affect, you think, your project? Did it cut into the time of like, oh, when the shutdown happened, did that affect your project at all, and how you guys thought about it at all?
No, it didn't, because we finished the project in like January, like on New Year's of 2019. And it eventually got released a while after. It was very weird for me because like it was an 8-year-long process, right?
Right.
And like a lot of being able to do that and finishing the project meant we had to spend a lot of time on it.
Mhm.
And because of that, you can't do some other things that you maybe want to do with like friends, or go to events, or go to a
Right.
concert or something.
Right.
So I was always like, okay, when this film's done, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna do this, that.
yeah.
And then like right when we finish it, we do the interviews and stuff. And like as like media people are coming to interview us about the project, that's when COVID happens.
Oh,
And it's
wow.
like, well, I had no chance to like do what I thought was going to happen.
Right.
So it's been an interesting couple of 2-3 years here in the world, I guess.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like
Go
we
ahead.
released it, then poof. So
The world
we
stopped.
kind of made it in like a couple month window where people weren't focused on the pandemic and
Right.
things. I feel like if we had uploaded it a couple months later, it may have got kind of lost in the shuffle, because this was such a new thing for everybody. So that was kind of interesting to think about too.
And
It
the
is.
irony of it, of like everything that we did, a lot of it, we were staying home and like shooting this stuff alone in our rooms and stuff. And it's like, well, that's the perfect pandemic project.
Yeah.
Why didn't we do this a couple years ago?
It's true. It is the perfect pandemic project, because you guys were kind of forced now to be home all the time, like everybody else, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys are just sitting there like, oh, now we can't do fun stuff.
Yeah.
We're done with our project.
Yeah, I've been working from home before it was cool,
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, and it was weird too, because the pandemic for me was, in a way, I had a good year that year because everybody's home watching videos. My YouTube channel blew up that year. Well, more than 2019 for Toy Story 4, but yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy time. Mhm.
Yeah, and I think that may have helped with the views too. I know around March, I think it kind of slowed down a bit, but as soon as people were really staying home, it just shot up.
Yeah,
So
it was the
I think
pandemic
I think it kind of helped. So
yeah, and you guys are actually really close to 100,000 subscribers now. I think you're in the 90s range. So
yeah,
pretty soon.
94 or something like that.
Yeah, you guys will definitely get there. You're already there. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. Segueing to Lee Unkrich, the director of Toy Story 3. I saw he tweeted out your project, and he even commented. I remember it went viral, that tweet, because it said something like, are these guys either insane or like, or is this amazing? Like, it's both. It's creative genius, so that's
yeah.
So that was kind of cool to get acknowledged. I mean, how did that feel for you guys? Because I know Toy Story 3 is your favorite movie, and like to get acknowledged by Lee. How did that feel, like, to see that?
It was awesome. Pretty surreal.
Yeah. To that guy, I love Coco too. I love all his work on Finding Nemo, Toy Story 2. So, I mean, it's always great when you get to kind of connect with the creators that you inspire to be like, or that inspire you. So that was really cool. And then also Michael Giacchino too.
Yeah, there's some other cool people.
That's right.
Questlove, like weird people that I never would have thought
That's
would
amazing.
be tweeting at me or tweeting at us.
That's so cool.
So
Yeah,
for
because you guys got
grace.
famous. You guys got famous from that. It really did go circulate everywhere,
Yeah.
So
Got to get that 15 minutes somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
And weren't you guys on the news too? I think you were featured in some news outlets or something. Like,
Yeah, there was multiple news outlets. One of the interesting ones, there was I don't remember who they were. Do you remember the people from Australia? Like there was an Australian news crew that like came to our house and filmed here.
That's amazing.
And
yeah, I think it was just called, I think it's just Today or something.
Nice.
It's not like it's not the Today Show, but in Australia it's just Today.
It's like the Australian version.
That's
cool.
But yeah, they were really nice.
Awesome.
They're kind of confused, like, wow, this is really intense.
oh, like this stuff actually exists.
Yeah.
Actual.
They're like, whoa. They were starstruck by you guys, which is probably crazy to you guys. I'm sure it's like, I don't know.
And it's weird. I remember it was interesting. The lady who interviewed us asked me, so how long did it take to edit this piece or something? Where we were just showing a clip, and I said, oh, like a couple months. And she said, that's it? And I was like, isn't that a long time?
I mean, I'm actually impressed for 2 months. I think a project like that, I would feel like editing would be, well, I guess if two guys are working on the editing, right? I think that makes a little more sense. But
yeah, and it always depends on which scenes you're editing.
Yeah,
a lot are easier than most.
So I kind of,
you can crank out quickly, and some take more thought. Like, how is this going to work? Or man, this looks bad. How do I make it look better?
No, and that was the thing that I wanted to segue into was, you guys had started the project and then you guys restarted the project. How far did you guys realize, like, oh man, this is something we have to do over, or like, whose idea was that? Was that a mutual thing, or was it kind of like, hey man, I don't like this, or like, how did you guys go through that?
I would bring it up quite a bit because I would always those characters and that film means so much to me. I think it's just the peak of filmmaking. Might sound crazy, but
well, no, it's not crazy. I get it.
There were certain things that I just wasn't really pleased with. I was like, we can do better than this, right? Or like, it seemed like we're putting so much time into this just to release this. So there were moments where I was like, I got to make this better. Okay. Just for me, even. And Mason, I felt better about it.
And Mason, how did you feel about this? Were you like totally on board when you said this, or were you like, I have my doubts?
Well, I was in the same boat too, and I know creative learning process, so we're always kind of supporting each other and the growth of that. And if there was something that didn't look right, I mean, we had to be honest with each other because we wanted to make something worthwhile to watch.
And there are certain parts too where it would be like, okay, this can pass as, we were just starting. So it's okay because it's good to show that growth too.
Right.
But there were a few scenes where I was like, I love that scene. I want to make this better.
Yeah.
So the part where Bad Buzz comes in and locks up all the toys, I really wanted to make that better because I just think that's so cool that it just gets so dark so quick in the movie. It's just such a shift, and it makes things interesting and dramatic. So I was like, I got to pay tribute to this hard, and I wanted
getting the colors right and everything. A lot of it was sometimes trying to get the look right, I guess, or like since other stuff had changed, like at one point when we were filming in this room, all of the mop boards were wood. And eventually we switched them to white because it felt more right. So if there were some scenes, like the army men are walking in with the sock and everything, it's like, well, I mean, it looked good. Do we have to refilm it? It's like, but the mop boards aren't going to match with everything else. So there's also a continuity of trying to make it look like, because we never wanted it to step out and be like, oh yeah, that shot was filmed like 6 years ago. There's that part of it too.
Yeah, and I think I understand that, and kind of I have a slight OCD issue, And I understand the like need for perfection sometimes, but
Yeah.
I learned that perfection isn't real. It's more of an illusion of what we
It's very
perceive,
true.
right?
Very true.
So there's my therapist brain going off. But I learned that, and then I realized, you know what, I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna fail on camera. So a lot of my videos is me trying things, and it's not perfect. And I even tell people, this is my best attempt right now. It could get better in the future,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
this is what I got. You know?
Yeah, that's a great
And
way to
so
think of it. It really
that's the
is.
way, that's what I do. And I think you guys are inspiring that to others out there too, where it's like, you know, at the end of the day, I heard Mason, you had talked about on camera, you said something about you know, it's about the journey, you know, it's not about perfection either,
Absolutely.
right? So I really appreciated that you guys put that message out there, because when I see Toy Story 3 in real life, I see perfection in my view as a fan.
Oh,
You know, I know
Well,
it's
thank
probably
you.
far for you guys, but like for me,
yeah.
I think it's a perfect stop motion film for me.
Well, thank you.
personally.
Thank you.
You know,
really appreciate that,
obviously
for sure.
there's little shadowing here and there where it's just like, it's stop motion, it's going to happen. You know, how do you
Yeah,
guys even
yeah.
think about that fluidity of like, was the shadowing the most annoying thing as for stop motion? I would think, I don't know.
Well, yeah, because lighting is always going to be a problem when
Right.
you're trying to do stop motion, because you're trying to make everything controlled. You can't really control that one light that's up in the sky, right?
Right, exactly.
So especially with like filming outside stuff,
Yeah,
because if you're gonna do that, you can't do it on a cloudy day. Because
exactly.
if you do, you're kind of out of luck. Yeah, it'll be changing all over the place.
Yeah.
So you probably had to wait some days, I'm sure, for the weather
oh,
to
yeah.
change.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there were days where I was like, "Oh man, it's cloudy."
Yeah.
It would always be so frustrating because you're ready to go,
Yeah.
but you know the weather, Mother Nature
Right.
says, "Nope, not now."
And that's
So
why
there's
I
no
liked live
frustration.
action. That's why I liked live action so much, because for me it was like more organic, and I
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about the weather too much. I can be like, oh, I can get the scene done in a couple hours. I don't have to worry about, you know, the lighting so much. You know?
There's definitely a luxury there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we kind of like, so once they get out of the incinerator and they're outside in the junkyard,
Yeah.
you know, the light kind of shifts a little bit there
Mhm.
because I mean it was outside. But we kind of wanted to marry some of that kind of style with stop motion and just present it as, hey, this is what it is,
Right.
you know, and not try to necessarily go for perfection. Just say,
Right.
if it was stop motion out here, that's what it would look like.
And there's
Yeah.
always something that looks so real about that, especially like with the clouds sometimes. Like I
Yeah.
know there's one shot of Lotso going up to Daisy's house.
Yeah.
And you can tell that the sky is changing because it was shot in like an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's something so real about that. Like it's not faking it at all.
Right.
But you could very easily go in there with a crop
Mhm.
and go change out the sky. But we left a lot of those in there because it made it feel more authentic for what it was.
Yeah.
I did consider doing that, but
I'm sure you
There's
did.
a lot of creative choices.
you have to pull back sometimes.
And I think what's really cool about your project was it added another layer of magic that I don't know if you guys perceived or not, but you know, it to me in my mind, I translated as, well, this is what it would look like if this was real life and you left the room and the toys actually came to life. This is what it would really look like in a way. You know, it's a new layer of magic filter, I guess you could say, right? Of realism.
Yeah.
I don't know. How
I'm
did you guys
glad
think
that
about it?
I'm glad that you said that. Yeah, because that's kind of where we got the idea from the title. Is
Okay.
because it wasn't just the puppet stuff. There's also we could talk about a whole side of that.
Right.
Because we didn't want it to look like Jonathan and Jesse's
Right.
Toy Story live action, the third version.
Right.
We wanted it to be its own thing. So there was
Right.
a creative decision of what do we name it? Because if we make it live action Toy Story 3, they're going to think that it was Jonathan and Jesse.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
You're right.
with marrying the title with the stop motion stuff, there was that whole idea of, well, let's try to make this look as much as possible like if the toys actually came to life, this is what they would be. You wouldn't see the strings as much, even though we do have some strings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw them and I actually like them. I like
Yeah, there's some, it adds some character sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's all, yeah.
And
it's all
I
part
always
of that
thought
process.
about like, should I redo that? Or because, but it was just like, you know, what's the point? I mean,
Yeah.
the idea is that now I can animate the way I've always wanted to. It's
Right.
not about going back and fixing past mistakes. Shout out to the Lightyear message.
Yeah,
But,
right.
yeah, it was always kind of challenging deciding what to fix or something. But you can't fix everything.
Yeah, and that's true. And you shouldn't have to, because I think at the end of the day, for you guys, it was a learning curve. It was a learning opportunity. It was also fun for you guys because you guys are doing something you're passionate about. And now this could be something that you guys could use in a future job. And you never know, some skill you learned,
We do.
like,
Yeah.
right? And you guys use it
day,
now. You guys do it
Yeah.
now in your jobs, I'm sure. You'd be like, oh, I know how to edit that. That's easy for me,
Yeah.
or
right.
whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, it makes any project that comes up, like I've done some stop motion ads for like the local library. And, when talking about it with the people who hire me to do it, it's always like, are you sure you can do this? This doesn't worry me at all anymore.
Yeah.
After doing something like that was so
hard,
complex and took so projects just don't really seem difficult anymore.
Makes
Like
sense.
it just seems like, okay, I learned this. I can do this.
That's
My
great.
boss will say stuff like that too, where he'll be like, do you think we can do this? And I'll be like, I know you have to ask that, but it's like, absolutely. Yeah, this is a cakewalk in comparison.
Right. And that could be a testament to your hard work ethic. And I think they'll learn that, because sometimes when young people come in the workplace, I know I look really young for my age. So when I was a therapist working in the field, I would get looks all the time like, dude, you're not even like what experience do you have to bring to the table? And then when I started doing my job, they realized, okay, this guy's really good at what he does,
Yeah.
So it's probably what you guys have to do too, is kind of almost prove yourself in these companies, I'm sure, because you're like, well, who's this kid from college or whatever,
Right.
And I've always been a little bit self-conscious about that too, because I look like I could be 16 or 17.
Yeah.
But really I'm 23.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, but
see,
you don't need to think about it. Like, just be who you are.
Yeah.
As much as possible. Like,
yeah. And what you guys have done too is mastered problem solving in a way where you guys are constantly problem solving. And that's what any job is, I realize, is when you walk into a workplace, yes, there's a process, there's a job to do, but then there's a lot of problem solving that gets put on your plate. And that's part of what makes you a good worker. Can you fix these problems that are coming up? It's like juggling.
Yeah.
So, and you guys have learned that, I'm sure. I mean, you're learning that still, I'm sure. We all are.
Yeah.
I'm not a master at anything in terms of like, I just have experience and knowledge, but everything that I do is a work in progress, just like you guys. So I think people need to understand that, right? So
I think that's the best way to like tackle anything. Because I know I'll see some comments too where people are like on TikTok or something, where I've seen a couple where they're like, oh, I wish I could do this as good as this or whatever. And I'm like, just start, just do it. Just I sucked too before. Like I was making some really bad things at 12.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Just keep going. Like, it should suck at first. That's fine.
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
If you're really passionate about it, you'll get there.
Yeah. And if you guys look at my old videos, I even tell people that I'm like, my lighting's not good, my audio is not good. My ability to speak on camera was not as good. And it took 950 videos in where I'm at now to figure it out. So,
and it's awesome to go back and look at that stuff to see the growth. And well, I shouldn't say that too much because we've deleted a lot of our older videos.
That's funny.
Because we didn't want to confuse people with what was what.
Right.
But even when we started out, I think it was 2012, we released a trailer for what we thought we were going to finish for the Toy Story 3 project. Is not at all what it is now. What it eventually was
that's probably
released.
like one of the worst videos I've ever seen.
And we've talked about this before, is like, but we needed to do that because if we never would have posted that stuff, we never would have gotten to where we were. So if there's anybody out there that's hesitant about making something, I don't know if I have the right camera stuff. Don't worry about it. If you have a phone, make something. We got a camera on there.
We shot most of this, like 90% of it on our iPhone.
That's amazing. And actually, I most of my videos are an iPhone too, and I don't think people realize that. It's the latest one.
Really good.
That's what I use.
Especially nowadays.
It doesn't have to be a big, honking camera ground level. It's easier to move it if it's a smaller, more portable thing.
I actually feel for Jonathan and Jesse because they didn't have the camera tech that, you know, we have when you guys started your project, because I bet you their project would have looked pretty insane if it was like HD cameras. But you know, now, you know, you guys, so you guys just started on your iPhone. Is that what you just completed the project too, or did you use a DSLR at some point at all?
We used for a couple of things, like for a zoom shot, I think, like when Woody sees the window in the bathroom.
Okay.
That room, that was the DSLR.
Oh, cool.
I needed like a photo on top of something else, like just to composite it, like in a stop motion. I would just take it on my DSLR. Or it would depend, but like all the animation is 100% on the iPhone. Yeah, so
that's great. So yeah, that's awesome. And a couple of things I wanted to highlight from your project. How'd you guys get Lotso's like eyebrows to kind of furrow? So it's a plush. Like, how'd you guys do that? I noticed that when he was talking to, you know, like, when they were sitting Buzz down in that scene where he's like, get the bookworm or whatever, and he's got like furrowing his eyebrow. How'd you guys do that? I'm like so confused.
That's such a cool question. Nobody's ever asked that.
Nobody asked that.
I'm detail oriented. So.
I'm gonna feel like a broken record here talking about creative decisions. There's a problem with a lot of the characters in the fact that their mouths, obviously in the movie, Lotso isn't doing this all the time, but there's a lot of character that you can get out of that in the stuffed animal.
Right.
But I don't want to know if you want to talk about the actual, like,
how'd you guys do that? It was crazy.
Moves a lot too in the stop motion, and I've had a couple of people say, was that an error? It's actually not, and it was actually 100% intentional. Because I wanted it to look like it was continuously moving.
Right.
I didn't want it to look really static. I mean, it can move, so why shouldn't it?
That makes sense. Yeah.
I like that style. You can kind of see that. I don't know. Have you seen Fantastic Mr. Fox?
I have actually. Yes, I have.
That
so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I like that. I think it's kind of crafty. So.
No, it was smart.
It's just moving it like one frame at a time as he's doing everything else, moving the eyebrows with it. And on the professional way to do that would be to have a spec sheet of like, okay, this is the exact frame that his eyebrow should start to do that so that it matches up with his audio when he starts to talk. But since this was such an amateur project, and since we were doing this all in our free time, we did a lot of stuff just by the seat of our own pants.
Right.
So all of that, even with like Mr. Potato Head's mouth, like sometimes we animated that so that he could say something, which I always thought was cool. All of that was just done up here in guessing when is he going to be saying this in line with his motions.
That's amazing.
A lot of the time it really wasn't, you know, watching each frame and then duplicating it, because I just watched the scene, felt what it needed to be, and then did it, usually. There's a couple exceptions. You know, Woody is my favorite character ever of anything.
Yeah.
So,
I understand.
like when he's leaving Sunnyside, and he's leaving the caterpillar room, and when he's confronting the toys about why they want to stay. I love that scene. So I did actually watch each frame and made sure that every movement was as accurate as possible to what he does.
That's awesome.
But a lot of the time it was just kind of seat of the pants, as close as possible.
What feels right. And then once you get the hardest part or the longest part of, I shouldn't say the longest part, because it's some scenes, you know, you're sitting there hours on end trying to shoot something. But there's also like an entire couple of hours that go into setting up the shot, setting up the framing so that it looks right, so that it feels right. And then don't even get me started on like creating the sets, because that's a whole nother piece.
Set creation would sometimes be longer than actually doing the animation.
Yeah.
Or doing the scene.
Because if that's not there, then you have nothing. So
I agree.
I mean, we would spend hours and hours making sets and thinking of, okay, does this look out of place? Does this look close enough? Because a lot of the props aren't 1-to-1, but they're very close.
Right.
And we kind of like that, because it's not everything in Pixar's world is going to be in our world.
Thanks for sharing that. It's really cool to hear, these toys are that we love are so different. You have, a ragdoll body, and then you have a plush body, and then you have hard plastic through Potato Head and bendy arms and all these weird things. But, it's cool that you guys were able to figure out, okay, this toy would probably look better moved this way for these shots. And then the perspective thing, another thing. There's times where I was laughing in Toy Story 3 because Bonnie's putting all the toys in her backpack. And I'm like, in real life, those toys are not that scaled to fit in that tiny backpack. And the
Right.
perspective. So I learned that the animators, they change things to make the shot. Not really because it's, oh, we got to keep the proportion. Woody's 16 inches tall, so he needs to stay this size. Right. I mean, this stuff people don't really think about.
And if you listen, there's like one specific commentary of I don't remember who's talking about it. It might have been Lee Unkrich, but they were talking about setting up the shot for underneath the car in the gas station in Toy Story 1 taller, but
Right.
they need it to be confrontational, so they need to be looking at each other.
That makes
So
sense.
Pixar would put Woody through the ground because
wow.
they could do that,
Yeah.
and so that their eye lines would meet. So when we were doing that, a lot of the things where Woody and Buzz need to be looking at each other, Buzz is actually like on a couple CD
Okay.
albums so that he can be taller
Nice.
and meet the eye line with Woody.
That makes perfect sense because Buzz is 12-inch scale and Woody's supposed to be 16 inches. So that's
Exactly.
a big difference.
It's also kind of interesting when like Toy Story fans will be like, "Oh, this is how tall Woody's supposed to be," or "This is the accurate height." And it's like, is it? It changes.
You know what? John Lasseter even told us, he's like, this is exactly what Andy had in the movie, and I proved time and time again, it's not exactly like the movie.
So maybe it's up for interpretation.
Yeah, I think so. But no, thank you for sharing that. And then I don't know if you guys seen, but I had a Home Alone live action that I did, and I actually built the set of Kevin's house. A section of it. And it took me like 3 months of research and 6 months to actually build that set, because I went to eBay and I got every little detail right, like the picture frames, the color of the rug on the floor. I had a custom doll maker make me that staircase with the right runner.
Oh, really?
I had to like literally research everything you see in that shot, and then I realized after making that, I'm like, I can't keep this up. This is way too much work. They're like, I want to do the whole movie, but it's just, maybe one day I'll still do that, but it's crazy work for sure. So I commend you doing a whole movie, because that's insane. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, we try to reuse as much stuff as possible.
Right.
Almost all of the stuff in the Caterpillar room actually is just like poster board on a wall.
That's what I did too. Yeah.
Then there's also the question of, well, how much of this is permanent and how much of this are we making out of like masonite and hardboard, or are we doing this with cardboard and a bunch of poster board and stuff?
Poster board works. I mean, no one's gonna be like, "Oh, is that white wall made out of actual wall?" They're gonna probably ask that if it's shot right. So that's
it all depends on what it is and what pulls off, what looks believable, and how much of a budget you have, and how much you're willing to throw at something.
That's crazy. And I was gonna talk about that too. Budget wise, I know you guys use different toys for the film, and you even have I think you had the real posing Takara Tomy Buzz Lightyear. I could be wrong. Yeah, I like that one. And then you had the also Metacom Woody, which I just bought. I know it's very expensive too, but like, was there a budget that went into your making, or did you guys just buy stuff along the way? Like, were you guys just kind of like ever think about the budget at all? Was that like an issue for you guys? Like, oh, is this going to cost us money to do? Or something?
We always were like, okay, we shouldn't be spending that. But there was no like set budget. But it was just, hey, I have this money, and
that's good.
Well, let's put it into it. But that's like going back to the reusing stuff. I tried to be like, let's just use that again or something, because
cost effective.
That's
good. That's
good. Some things we splurged on, some things we didn't. It just kind of depended.
And like you were saying about the Tomy Buzz from Toy Story 4, the real posing one, he came out like right as we were done shooting it, so we never got to use him for the Toy Story 3 in real life project. But there's some scenes where I'm like, I wish I would have had him there.
Right.
Because there's a lot of things where we had to modify, and talking about you've made a lot of custom mods. And
Yeah,
stuff,
I have. Yeah.
we have too. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with what's
Nice.
out there. But like when Buzz goes to reach for his laser and stuff,
Right.
we had to break collection Buzz since we had
Oh.
an extra one, and they were probably cheaper than they are now
Yeah, for
at the
sure.
time to get it so that his arm can actually reach over.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Or like
I get it. Yeah.
like when Buzz locks up the toys, when he goes like that, the Academy training statement, that is also the same thing, where his arm was broken to
Yeah.
where it's doing what that real posing Buzz can do,
Right.
but he didn't exist then.
Yeah, would have been nice to
Okay.
have that one.
Yeah, I think now with the real posing Buzz, you can do a lot of that stuff without breaking the toys. But yeah, I understand. I actually paid somebody from the UK to mod my Buzz for it costs like $450, $500, but he was able to do everything I wanted. Like the arm joints are down the way it's supposed to be. He has ball joints now in the wrist. He moves like Buzz. And that was
Nice.
Yeah, that's
nice. Yeah,
But why can't toy companies just make it? That's what I'm still frustrated about.
This is after Toy Story 3 in real life, but
Yeah,
I made this Buzz, which I consider the most accurate Buzz in the fact that he's
Karate
the
chop.
Thinkway one, and he has karate chop action.
So
He's
how
got-
did you do that, by the way? How did you do
He's
that?
got a real working laser. I
Nice.
don't know if you can see that.
Nice.
And he's got the arms to go down,
Nice.
and
That's cool.
the helmet doesn't go back.
Yeah.
That's the
Obviously.
one thing.
That's the one thing.
but-
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
there's some fun stuff to do with the toys that they make and trying to do what the toys company didn't.
Right.
This one's kind of like a combination of the Takara Tomy and the collection one. So he has like the ball jointed wrists too.
Nice. Yeah, that's really important. That's amazing. Really
I
cool.
mean, it's really cool when he can do that. They
Yeah.
should- I think all Buzzes should be able to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because you can sell the kits on eBay and do it yourself now, but it's just kind of annoying that you have to build your own toy.
Right. Yeah.
So, it's like,
Yeah,
can't
I
you just
think
make it?
I think they probably just don't. It doesn't help their bottom line.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense business wise to put time into something that a 4-year-old or whatever.
Right.
If a parent's just buying, the character that they might not see a difference. That's what I'm thinking. That they're just like, what's the point?
Well, speaking about toys, I kind of want to segue to the Lightyear thing because Sideshow Collectibles offered Metacom Woody. I was able to buy that. Now they're coming out with a Lightyear Buzz. I'm a little disappointed that we still haven't gotten like from Sideshow an accurate Buzz. We could
They should do that. They should.
Like
I would buy that.
Toy Story
right away.
Buzz. I hope it's coming in the future. But for now, I'm really excited about the Lightyear Buzz because I still think it's a really cool Buzz, and I hope
It is.
it does.
I
a lot. What are your
I
thoughts
was
on
really hyped for that because I'm a big Hot Toys fan. They make
Oh, cool.
great products. And to see that they made a Buzz and that it was such an accurate portrayal of how he looks in Lightyear, I was like, yes, let's go.
Yeah, I love it too, and I can't wait to get my hands on it and review it on this channel. That's I'm planning to buy
I'll look out.
all of them, but I know they have the SH Figuarts coming out. Beast Kingdom is coming out with another one. So there's just so many Lightyear Buzzes coming out actually by next year.
Yeah.
And it's like you'll buy one, then you're like, oh, and then another one's
Yeah.
released.
I know, right? Yeah, and that's true. Maybe we'll get
how they
Buzz.
get you.
Exactly. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the Lightyear movie? Segueing into that, what do you guys think of the film overall? I just kind of want to hear from each of you. What was your take on it, the idea, and anything you want to share about it?
I'll say my quick piece here in that I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was exactly what it needed to be. It as an origin film and kind of like the start of a franchise. Like that's the whole point of what it's supposed to be. And I think there's a lot of people out there that think that it's supposed to be Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back, but it's not. It's A New Hope or Phantom Menace kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's like the beginning of what probably the end result of like a Lightyear world would be, which I think is awesome because it kind of shows, I don't know, how did he get his wings? Where did he come up with the idea for the laser? All those things. I hope that isn't too spoilery.
No, it's fine. I released my video already, so people know to expect spoilers here. So you guys are good. You guys are good.
But yeah, I thought it was great. It was beautifully done. I really enjoyed it. I liked Alicia, the character of Alicia at the beginning. I like whenever there's like in Buzz Lightyear Star Command, the cartoon as well. I love when there's different characters in Buzz's suit.
Right.
Like it just looks really neat. I just think it looks awesome. So I like seeing that, especially when they have their helmet down and the purple hood. It looks really uniform, matches with Buzz, and it looks just really, I don't know, action-packed and cool. So,
and the different colors of the suits, that was genius. Like you got the rookie one, you got the maroon thing, and then you got the blue one, which I think is supposed to be like tech or sciencey. And
XL01.
As I also like a bunch of sci-fi stuff like Star Wars, Star Trek, and I kind of like that kind of nod of like the different colored shirts in the Star Trek series.
It's great. People were mad about there weren't any aliens that appeared in this movie, but I don't know how they would integrate that. I don't understand how.
What about the bugs? Aren't the bugs alien?
In a way, those are the aliens.
Well, I see that. Well, maybe that's in the next world they visit, right?
Maybe
they can't throw everything in at once because then it's just too much. You have to leave other worlds to explore, right? I mean, that's what he is. That's who the character is. So.
Yeah, and that was another hate thing I got on my comment section was like, why is there no aliens? And then of course the big like Chris Evans versus Tim Allen. But to me, they're different Buzzes. One is a human Buzz, one is a toy based on Buzz. In the real world, Jim Hanks voices the Woody dolls, so for me it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes sense to have different characters. I don't know what's your take on that. But
especially if like this is incredibly meta, but the fact that in the Toy Story universe, Lightyear is a live action movie. So the fact that a different character or a different voice actor would voice the toy makes a lot of sense to me, because there's a lot of big franchise movies where those people aren't voicing the toys.
I mean, that happens with Marvel all the time.
Yeah.
Like the Iron Man toys. I don't think they're Robert Downey Jr. I really don't.
I don't think so.
Even in like the cartoons and stuff, like they're not. He doesn't voice like,
or even Chris Pratt. I know he voices everything, but he doesn't voice some of those characters in the video games.
That's true. Small Soldiers, one of my favorite films from the 90s. I remember the toys weren't all voiced by Tommy Lee Jones. Some of the Chip Hazards were voiced by a hired actor. So so there's both versions out there for people who don't know. There's Tommy Lee Jones voiced Chip Hazards, and then there's Chip Hazard, same toy, but it's voiced by a voice actor because parents got mad about him saying all Gorgonite scum must die, and they thought it was too violent. So they changed it back then. And then I realized with my new Zerg that I just got, Josh Brolin, amazing guy. His voice, he says, prepare to die. So I'm like, are they going to ban this toy again? I don't know. He says it now.
It sounds so cool when it says that, though.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
It's so cool. Have you guys seen the new Blaster Buzz with the voice and the Zerg toy that I just reviewed? It's really cool toy.
Yeah.
They're really cool.
Yeah. So is it like 12-inch?
It's actually no, it's 13.75 inch, so it's almost 14 inch. And it's pretty massive. So it scales it'll probably scale with a 7-inch Buzz, maybe more realistically, but
okay, there's so many scales.
Do you have the other like 12-inch taller Zerg?
Yes,
too,
Lightyear? So they're basically the same size. It's slightly taller by like quarter of an inch. I already did the measurements for everybody, but like it's just slightly taller, but it has no electronics. It's just a giant Zerg, which is really cool.
Okay.
But yeah, that version's out there as well. That one's like $15, I think, and then the bigger one's like 30. But...
It's kind of tough picking which scale to go with. There's because all of them are kind of neat. So it's like, should I get this and that? Or
it is hard. I'm actually going to do a collection video soon coming on my channel. So if you guys will watch that, I'm going to put all the toys side by side so you see.
Cool.
Because that's the next video. So yeah.
Nice.
But I have a lot of Lightyear toys here, and I've been having fun with those, and it's just cool. Like doing all the research and learning who's the voice actors, what toys are releasing on the market, why are there's inaccurate details, and then I point all those out. Basically, Mattel is pretty lazy in terms of like they just want to pump it out to make fast cash, but I do appreciate that sometimes they do go a little bit far and beyond to do a little better. So sometimes they do.
With like the Alpha Class or the featured favorites and Spotlight series, which are kind of all the same line, but some of them slightly different and a little bit better.
Takara Tomy.
I think their goal is always just that there's like something for everyone, different sizes, and
Yeah.
in different outlets. Like some are just Amazon thing, and then some are in the stores. And I think
they're
that kind
Kohl's exclusive, which is
Yeah.
weird.
yeah,
That is weird. I'm trying to find that Kohl's exclusive right now with the plants. It comes with the little
Oh,
plants
yeah.
or something. I'm trying to find that. I can't
Is it
find
hard
it
to
anywhere.
find?
Yeah, right now it is.
Yeah.
I can't find it anywhere. But
Huh.
I have a Mattel store though. I'm very lucky. I live like 10 miles from a Mattel outlet store. That's kind of a
Oh, really?
secret.
I didn't know
And
that was a thing.
so, okay, so for people who don't know, I don't know how many exist. There's only 2 in Southern California that I know of, one in LA and then one near me in San Bernardino County. And basically it is a warehouse where they put the overflow damaged Mattel products there for sale. They're 50%
really?
off, which is crazy.
Really?
But you have to get there early. Every Thursday is the new fresh stock. So I go every Thursday to try to get like these toys basically half off because the box is a little damaged or something.
So
It's like so much fun.
have you bought
Yeah,
stuff
it's fun.
for them?
Yeah, I think my bank account's depleted because I'm always buying toys. So like I literally go there every Thursday and I find something. Like I found Alicia Hawthorne, the 12-inch scale, and that's rare. Nobody has that right now except for like 2 other people, I think. So I got lucky because I go to the direct Mattel distributor. So yeah.
Like when you went, were there a lot of them?
There's only one, and I have no idea
Only
if it
one.
was a mistake or why it's there, but I got it.
That's
I bought it and I was
interesting.
like, I told them, like, do you guys know how rare this toy is? And they're like, no. Like, the employees don't even know half the time. You know, I walk in and I tell them about the toys because they didn't really know. So, you know, there's a big disconnect. I've talked to people who work for Mattel and I learned something very interesting. So the toy designers are so like focused on toy designing or production of the designs and all that. Once their job is done, they're literally giving another folder to do another task or another toy design.
Yeah.
So after that, it's supposed to go to a manufacturing process and production, and that's a whole separate division. So Mattel's so big that there's a huge disconnect in communication. So what ends up happening is distributors start doing things late or early. Nobody's keeping track. It's just this giant corporation. And now you have this huge disconnect where the toy designers were like, I just designed the toy. I don't know what happens after that.
And that happens with a bunch of companies.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's just kind of, I guess that's kind of like the downside of being so large. Is that kind of that disconnect happens.
But,
right.
And it seems like it's getting worse for some of them, especially with like even basic figures. Like I know, like when Mattel released like their Rocky and their Chunk and stuff, you were like telling people, hey, this is where to go get it if you didn't know and stuff. And it's like, why are there people that need to do that? Shouldn't it just be, oh, you can go get it at the store, or here it is on Target's website, and not have it be out of stock all the time or something?
Yeah, the chunk figure, the new Mattel Chunk that came out for 2021 toy line, supposedly, that never actually hit the US market. We have the link, but it never went up for sale. Nobody ever found it in the store in the US.
Really?
They found it in Mexico. They found it in the UK. They never released it to the USA.
Weird. Yeah.
It's so weird.
That happened with the Spotlight series Buzz as well. I think he was in Mexico months and months ago, and he just now became available. So
sometimes Australia, the UK, Mexico, they get the toys first for whatever reason. The USA sometimes last. You know, it's very rare that we actually get the toys first here because a lot of them are produced overseas. So we get them last here, apparently.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting to think about it. It can be kind of frustrating because you're like, can't there just be a site where I go to right away and can find this?
Well, I'm so glad that the internet exists now because like since we live in Iowa, a lot of those toys don't end up at our Target or our Walmart at the same rate that you see them, that people have them on Instagram. It'll be like months or weeks later that we'll start to get that
or never.
I think Victoria's Cantina, one of my favorite toy YouTubers on YouTube, she had mentioned, she made a video about this called Where the Toys Aren't or something like that. You saw that? Did you see that? And like,
no, I didn't. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, she's really interesting, and I love her topics. And she was talking about the big disconnect, and like I was highlighting in these companies, where it's like, you know, there's so much demand for a product. You would think they want to make money. Why don't they just pump so much volume into the stores? They don't do it. They just don't. It's weird. It's very strange.
Well, I think they're always really concerned about there being overflow too. Like I know this happens with a lot of properties. With the Incredibles 2 line, with Jack Specific, I believe that did them. There was so much product left after the movies had left theaters and stores. And like rock bottom prices afterward too. And
Yeah.
I was like, this is a real shame.
Yeah.
And it was sad too, because like the coolest ones, like the Underminer and the Screenslaver, that was like all the ones that they did like last, or even who's one of the superheroes that they did? That's a really odd.
Void? Was it Void?
No, it was the Owl.
Oh.
I don't know what anything's name.
Yeah, I can't think of it either.
But there's like all of those, and like they look awesome. But like all the ones that they pumped out and the ones that you can find is like just regular Mr. Incredible in his red suit. It's like you only need so many of those, and it's not unique enough.
Well, and they make those late, like in the next wave or whatever.
Right.
And then the previous one didn't sell, so nobody buys them. And then you have to find them on an obscure site or at that shop. You know, where you go to.
Yeah,
So,
I found it on Instagram from some local little tiny hole in the wall toy shop that sold it to me. You know, which is crazy.
Interesting. That really,
it was weird. Combat Carl Jr. is going for like $200 online right now for the little 7-inch Mattel figure that should be only a $10 toy, but we never saw it in Target either. It just never showed up. You know, it was weird.
I don't remember where I got it, but it popped up on either Mattel's site. I think it was Target that had it in stock
for a little
bit.
It
was like $16, and I was like, let's go.
You got lucky, because that wasn't a long time then. You got lucky because it probably sold out pretty fast.
And it was only up for like 2 hours.
See, there you go. It was gone. That's so crazy.
But that shouldn't be the case. Like, it's too bad. And then you got to fork out hundreds of dollars to go get it online.
I'm kind of worried about that with Lightyear, that they might have too much product left over, because like the same thing with Incredibles 2, if that happens, and then we might never get like a wave 2, which I think there should be.
I agree.
Because I want to see that final suit, right? The Omega suit.
We need that.
I need that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm collecting all the Alpha Range suits right now that I can find, but it's very important for me to get that toy line, because I just love to compare to and just see what's out there and show people. But I also like collecting, obviously. But one thing I wanted to highlight, though, people don't realize that Toy Story Collection Mr. Potato Head from Thinkway Toys that was released in 2010, it only had like a year or two production run, then ceased, because the toy actually undersold, and people didn't realize back then the toy didn't do well. It was clearancing out on Amazon for like $20 at some point, because what happened was people were mad. They're like, we don't want an electronic potato head. We want a potato head like the movie. We want separate eyes. We want it to just not be a gimmicky thing. So it actually undersold. They cut production, but guess what? As the toy got popular and Toy Story got a bigger fandom, people wanted to go back in time and be like, I want that toy now. I see it. I want it. And guess what? Companies like, sorry, we're not bringing that back. It didn't sell well for us. But they don't realize, well, if you brought it back to market, it probably would boom, because they're going for $800 on eBay and people are paying that. You know, it's just crazy.
I also wondered too if it was part of that kind of undersell.
Yeah.
And then also, like, when they considered maybe bringing it back, that they're like decided not to, because that is an extra license from Hasbro.
True.
And I wonder if Thinkway may have just been like, you know, the heck with it.
We're out.
And I get it. You know, I know that can be tricky. So
a lot of it is,
but
business.
It's too bad. It's too bad, because it is a good product, I think.
I agree. I mean, it has Don Rickles' voice, and you know, rest in peace.
Yeah,
I mean, love
it's really
Don
fun.
Rickles.
It's a really fun toy.
Yeah,
so.
I still love mine.
It looks fantastic. I don't have it anymore. We used to have.
Oh no! What happened to it? What happened to it?
Well, Morgan made this one now, but
nice.
I have his feet.
Nice, good job. That looks awesome.
This really is cool. A custom. So this is like the body of the Mr. Potato Head we used in the film.
Okay.
And then I just said, you know, I'm going to try to make him more accurate.
Did you drill holes, or what did you do down there?
Yeah. So those are separate eye holes there. So you can see that.
Nice. Congrats. It looks awesome. It looks really good.
Yeah, my dad helped me with that. That's
awesome. Oh, he helped us with everything on film.
Oh, is he really crafty? What does he do? He does that kind of stuff.
He's an engineer. So
there you go. He can probably engineer Buzz.
he helped us make a lot of the set pieces. Just make the bed and stuff.
Wow.
And there's a lot of stuff that I've learned, like woodworking wise, in how to make stuff.
That's cool.
He was a big help.
That's amazing.
And he helped me make that more accurate Buzz too. So
nice.
Even after the project, he's still involved. So.
Have
Yeah.
your dad work on a fully retractable helmet, please.
I've thought about it.
We need
I've
to-
tried to
we
figure
need to
it
do
out
that.
so bad. Somebody had a really good video about how
Okay.
like this is impossible. Like they
Yeah.
had a little drawn diagram and stuff, and they're like, if there's something back here that you have to press
Right.
into, it's never going to like hit
Fully
right
retract. Yeah.
because it's got to go through his body.
Right. I
And
could see them.
thought so
Okay.
hard about, well, how do you do that? Because like I don't know if you've seen like water bottle. There's a water bottle where it's like perfectly solid.
Yeah.
But it's like a type of plastic where like if you hit like one button, it folds.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm like, oh, that's it. That's the solution. But you like you
agree.
have to have like a skeleton inside of it.
Right.
And then if it's supposed to be clear,
Right.
there's so many like
It
Right.
was like it would have to be collapsible
Yeah.
before it went into his body.
Right.
But since it's clear, yeah, it's just
there.
I don't know how you would do that
You
unless
could probably you'd have to do
I-
like saran wrap or something like
Yeah.
that. you know?
That's what
Which
you would have to do.
It'd be like thin, like a very thin material, you know, super
have like
thin.
wrinkles in it.
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
the Disney Store one goes halfway. I guess that's
True.
I
It's a
guess
step.
that's as good as it gets, maybe.
I would think it would have to be a robotically engineered thing. It has to be like a robot
Yeah.
thing inside. It has to be robotic because he's kind of like a robot if you really think about it with all the features. It's like a mini robot. I look at it like that.
Yeah, and
But-
I think that's how probably he actually works. I know it's a cartoon and everything, and anything's possible, but for it to work, that helmet would have to go inside of his body, which
Right.
means that button has to be somehow wirelessly going through to his arm, and then there's the laser probably has to be wirelessly through there too, because if it's going to go around
Right.
all the time, it can't go directly through there. So
Correct.
there's a lot of things where the solution in making that perfect buzz is like Bluetooth or radio waves or something.
Yeah,
That
I
is
agree.
beyond my pay grade to figure out.
It's beyond mine too, man. I have no idea how that works, but we can only dream. But thank you for commenting on that because that's a big thing that I love to discuss with everybody and hear their thoughts and what they think about it. But
Yeah,
it's great.
It's really fun trying to make that exact thing that you see in the movie as much as possible. And
Yeah.
we've probably done that a little too much, but
That's great. So I'm always trying to help people on this channel, and that's why I do it. I always tell people I don't care about money, I don't care about fame. I do things because I want to inspire people and I want to create
Absolutely.
positive change. And so I'm always telling people to, always dream big, put your mind to it, work hard, never give up. It can make impossible impossible. That's how our dreams come true, and you can accomplish anything. Part Back to the Future, I stole it a little bit, but basically what I'm trying to say is, anything is possible, and you guys are testament to that as well, that you guys are just a couple brothers who had a passion. You guys didn't give up, and you made something really amazing that inspired me and inspires other people out there. And so I guess I kind of want to segue into what's the best advice or things you'd like to tell people who maybe aspire to maybe either do stop motion like you guys or be a YouTuber or whatever it is. What advice would you give them, somebody starting out?
literally just start. Like,
Yeah.
don't have any reservations about what people are going to comment, what they're going to think. And when you are starting out, take your comments and advice like a grain of salt, because nobody's going to know exactly who you are or what you can be. So there's always a give and take of how much you have to listen and how much kind of you're taking from your audience and how much you're allowing that to change you.
Yeah. And I mean, like I was saying earlier, just like don't get discouraged too quickly, because it is difficult. And when you just start out, it's going to be hard. And you just kind of have to accept that it will be difficult and keep trying. And I know it sounds so cliche, everybody says that,
Yeah.
but it's true. I mean, just keep giving it a shot. And then eventually you'll get somewhere where you'll be satisfied with it. And if you're not satisfied with something you're doing, that only means that you have good taste.
Right.
It means that you do have aspirations. You do want it to be better, which is a good thing. And, just keep going.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too preachy, but yeah, there's an element of repetition that's always important
Yeah.
that I think a lot of people get wrong with, like practice makes perfect. Not always.
It doesn't
Practice
really.
makes permanent.
Yeah. Right.
If you routinely always need to be doing it. If that's whatever you want to do, you got to keep trying at it, but you also have to keep evolving and be honest with yourself, and so that you can become whoever you're supposed to be.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. It really helps people out there, just kind of hear, what can I do? And that's definitely a great starting point, is just to start and just to try. There's no shame. Even for me, I tell people I fail on camera because I've become comfortable with myself to do that and be vulnerable with you. Because I'm human. I'm not gonna pretend I'm this perfect genius or something, which I'm not.
So, you're not gonna be Jimmy Fallon.
Exactly.
You go and make the video. But if you keep doing it,
I would also say be genuine too, and just be yourself, because I'm not going to come up here and be like, Mattel's awesome, everything they do is perfect, I'm never going to criticize because that would be like me not being genuine, and I want to be honest.
Unless if it's a sponsored post,
right? In that case I might have to, right? I don't know, there's some companies where I'm like, hey, I'm going to give my honest opinion, so if it's a little cheap or it kind of sucks, I might say it. So I just like to be honest. I like to be honest,
Well, I like that genuine piece is good too, because don't make something because you think you need to make something like somebody else or something. If that's not how you want to do it, don't do it like that.
Exactly.
Do it your way, and that's fine. That's good. It's something different. So
I'd love to do a live action Toy Story 4, the whole movie. That'd be my dream. So I might do it one day. It's just, it might take me 8 years like you guys do. So we'll see how it goes. I'd love to do it because it's just so fun. I did the scene with one of my favorites that I did was my friend. He was my bass player in my band at the time. And he played Rajan, and he did the whole Christmas scene with Duke Kaboom, in front of the Christmas tree. That one got like 3-point-something million views already. So
really?
Wow. Yeah, it was crazy. It was just so crazy because it was just a passion project too. So,
and don't you have like that 3D printed, like the actual thing that he shoots into?
Yeah, I have that up here. Yeah, I had a friend. I always make things. It's way up there. It's up top, but it's on my channel, and I just when something doesn't exist, I try to make it exist. So I find 3D print artists, toy modders, and I'm like, can you guys make me this? Because I really want it. It doesn't exist. Please make it. And there's sometimes it's tricky.
Cool stuff that people have made.
Yeah, like the hoop. I really appreciate that hoop because it's so cool. And looking at it in the scale of it, it makes sense why it didn't come with it when you bought the signature collection version. It's just so massive. It's bigger than the box. So
was that from Etsy?
Yeah, that was from Etsy.
Yeah, I think I've seen it.
Yeah, it's my good friend Brush It Off Props. And,
okay, right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good friends. Yeah, good friends with them, and they do awesome work. So yeah. It's awesome. Great.
There's a lot of those people, and I've asked for some of those and like DM'd people. Oh, can I get these? And I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, do they know that I did that one thing on YouTube?
Yeah,
but I never really say anything, so I don't know.
I kind of feel like you guys are underground celebrities, obviously. Like, I think if you went to Disneyland, you'd be recognized by somebody.
Oh, really?
Probably.
I hope so. I really hope
you'd be like, those are the Toy Story 3 in real life guys. I think those are them.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because like I have friends and stuff who I went to college with, and they've moved out to do grad school at like film class and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they'll be like talking to their friends. They're like, oh, my friend knows you. I'm like, what? Why? What's going on?
That's awesome.
What did I do?
Or there was one time too where a post about the movie or something was picking up a lot of traction on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Mason bought a video game on eBay from somebody.
I bought Super Smash Bros.
Oh, nice.
Because it was used and it was cheaper to buy it off of eBay. I'm a big eBayer. So I got it off there. But then one guy tweeted, and he was like replying to somebody's tweet, and he was like, this guy bought my Smash Bros on eBay. And I was like,
oh, that's weird. That's a little too weird.
like, because he has my address. So I'm a little, still don't understand that guy on Twitter though, because there's nothing in my eBay to say that I am me aside from my name.
Oh,
so
man.
That means that guy specifically knows Mason McGrew. Which is a little concerning.
That is a little weird and then you saw the tweet. Did you reach out to him and be like, hey man, can you just like maybe keep this quiet?
I didn't see it.
I remember it to me. I saw it and I was just like, like goosebumps. Like, oh, that's really creepy.
What is the future of your YouTube channel? Do you plan on doing something specifically for your YouTube channel? Like, do you have a plan in mind? How do you conceptualize YouTube? Or because you guys have regular jobs now, are you guys kind of like, I don't know. How do you guys view that and how you see that?
Well, we've never had a plan, really.
No.
Except for the Toy Story 3 project. We knew we wanted to make that, but at the end of the day, too, we were never like, oh, this is going to be a YouTube piece.
Yeah.
Right. Because it was more about making that film.
Right.
And if YouTube didn't want it, we would have went somewhere else.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know if you have more to add.
Yeah. Well, I love doing stop motion, and I do a lot on my Instagram too. So I kind of like making things that can work for both, since I don't have like huge amounts of time, like with the Toy Story 3 project. I kind of like to do things that can work for both. So you make a vertical cut or whatever, like a reel or whatever TikTok format, and then make like a wider screen for YouTube. So I like doing that.
Congratulations, Mattel. They reposted your story on the story.
Oh,
your stop motion for Lightyear toys. I saw that. That was really cool. Another question that fans really want to know is, what's your favorite Toy Story character and why? Each of you guys would love to hear it.
You want to go first?
Well, I mean, it has to be Woody. Woody is my favorite character of all movies, all TV shows, all everything. He's kind of like my gold standard for a character. So if I see a character in a movie, I'm like, how good is this character on a scale from 0 to Woody? That's how I think of it. Perfectly written, everything about him is like comfort character, right? People say that about like pop culture characters and things. I guess that's how I describe him. Everything about it. His loyalty, his strong-headedness,
his growth. I love his growth between each film.
His growth,
and his challenge between his wants and what he feels the responsibility to do, and how that changes between each movie.
Yeah, or even just that willingness to change, that willingness to realize, no, I don't need to be this anymore, or I have to let this go for the sake, the overall sake of things.
And there's something really human about each of his mistakes, and especially in the first film with his selfishness. And it's weird how human he is, because of how toyetic and manufactured he is. And the same with Buzz and Jesse. And I've always had like a deep fondness for Buzz.
Nice.
And so it's a hard choice to say, oh, Wood's my favorite or Buzz is my favorite. They're all fantastic.
I agree with you guys. I always say Woody is my favorite character, but Buzz is my favorite toy, as a toy.
That's a good way of putting it.
I always say that because I like both. I see myself as Woody. I'm always like trying to be a leader and take care of everybody and make sure everybody's happy and well. And then but I'm also see myself as like Buzz is my alter ego of like being strong and like maybe not thinking deeply and just doing things, it's just like going for it.
Both can be good qualities.
It's true.
Absolutely.
It is
you
true.
kind of have to have a little bit of both, maybe.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, and they're like the yin and yang, right? They complement each other perfectly.
Yeah.
So they're both great together as well. And that's one thing about like Toy Story 4 criticisms that upset me too, because people will say, "Oh, this goes against Woody's character." I'm like, am I watching something else? Because in my mind, it doesn't at all. Like everything seems so genuine of what he would do. I mean, at the end of Toy Story 3, he sacrificed his life to save a bear that was trying to kill them. Like, who does that?
You're right.
So, like, why wouldn't that character do the things he does in Toy Story 4? It just, sometimes I don't understand how some people don't really see that.
Right. That's the problem that I find online all the time is people don't take the time maybe to process or critically think of all the details. And I think it gets lost by, I didn't like that scene or I didn't like that ending. So then they summarize the whole character based on one scene they didn't like, which has nothing to do with the character. That's just a little part. That's like judging someone saying, I saw them do that, therefore they're all this. It's like, you can't do that.
I think a lot of people also sometimes, when the criticism comes out for Toy Story 4, a lot of people look at it wrong, or they think that it is the ending, but it's really not. Toy Story 3 is the ending, and Toy Story 4 is what happens next, and it's the epilogue to it. And kind of each movie does that, and they have their own conclusion of the characters and everything. And then the next film asks, well, what happens next?
Right.
And Toy Story 4's real purpose isn't to end the story, it's to give a new purpose to it, like to each character. Like that's kind of the whole theme of the movie, is to find a second purpose after you've already gone through all this stuff. And that's true for Gabby Gabby. She's finding a second purpose from getting an actual kid to have her, to Duke Kaboom, to becoming more of who he thinks that he is. Woody becoming finally who he wants to be. And the way that kind of in every movie, I know people are like, well, Woody would never leave Andy. He does in each movie. And in Toy Story 2, you know, he wants to go to Japan to help out everybody else. And then there's always something that brings Woody back and says, hey, Woody, we got to go home. And in Toy Story 4, I think it's so perfect for Buzz to say, she's going to be okay. Bonnie's going to be okay. You go do this. I got it covered from here.
Makes sense.
It's so perfect. Yeah,
it makes sense.
Of course, it's sad to see them split, but that's what happens sometimes. I mean, that's what he needed to do for himself. And I know, like, a lot of people go back to the end of Toy Story 2, but he says for infinity and beyond to Buzz. But the idea of Toy Story 4 and even elements of Toy Story 3 is, well, what happens after To Infinity and Beyond? Because it's not a realistic statement. You can't go beyond. Like time changes, things change, and you know, when you're suddenly faced with those challenges, what do you do? Do you stick together, or do you have to grow beyond that? And I think that's a really neat thing.
I think the more, I like this is what I love talking about. I love talking about these things, but you know, this is the more implications of it, is that heavy human nature kind of component. It's almost like it goes beyond toys now. It's kind of going to the soul of the toys, which is the human, almost the human part of the toy, which we can relate to. And I think that's why so many people relate to these movies, is because we're looking at the qualities of these human characteristics that these toys are bringing to life on screen.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's still a story. It's still storytelling, you know, and it's still human.
That's the best thing about all the movies, is that they all have a message that is beyond just, well, they're just a toy. They're just a child's plaything, right?
Right.
No, there's so much going on in there that's very human, and so many messages.
I think it's genius. I think it's genius writing, and Pixar is something that's always going to blow me away. Like, they're just amazing team of people that create beautiful works of art, not only visually, but even metaphorically and philosophical and psychological. Like, I look at those implications and I'm just like, there's just so much here to unpack. That's really amazing. If you really take the time to process them, like you guys have. It seems like you guys think really deeply about it, which is really, I think more people should do.
When you watch it so many times, especially with like Toy Story 3, like I can tell you frame by frame where some stuff is that people probably don't know, like turtle mints. Everybody knows turtle mints, but that's like one little box that's in multiple scenes throughout Toy Story 3.
Right. One of my favorite,
it's little stuff like that.
Yeah, and the Easter eggs they throw in there, like the A113 or the Luxo ball is always in a shot somewhere, right? Same thing with like Toy Story 4. The one thing I loved was the cameo of the the Star Wars reference. You have Obi-Wan and I think it was Greedo. That was the arm chop off scene, which was really cool. You know?
The Kenner Star Wars figures are just the best. They look so cool. They're so retro, and
I have those figures, by the way. I have those too. I collected the original ones from the 70s. I have them up here too. So they're really great.
They're
when I was a kid, my parents were crazy and wanted to move 20 times. So I never was like, I was always moving.
Yeah, I've heard you say that before, and I was like,
my parents are a little unstable. No offense to them. They're great people, and they actually are very successful now. But when they were young and they had young kids, it was pretty chaotic. It was pretty crazy. It was a learning thing for them, for sure. You know. Yeah. Because my mom was 22 when she had me, and then my dad was like 24.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So they were young too, so they didn't really know about life either, you know.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a very crazy, like, okay, let's just move because we want to. It's like, no, let's not do that anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
after
gonna
I
be
moved
tough.
out, I even told my parents now, I'm like, please don't move anymore. Like, and that's why I'm a collector now, because I never got to have a real childhood where I felt my room was safe. You know, like my toys got
Sure.
thrown
Yeah.
away, they got lost and broken. So now as an adult, I'm making up for it. So this is what happened. So,
I was about to say that, yeah,
Yeah.
because our dad actually moved a lot when he was a kid,
Yeah.
and he would always say, "Oh, well, what I had this awesome Evil Knievel action figure,
oh yeah, like the Duke
basically the
Kaboom.
Duke Kaboom's
Yeah,
based
yeah.
off of,"
Yeah.
and he's like, "I can't believe my mom threw that away." So whenever
Crazy.
like we want to throw something away or sell it and stuff, he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, you know, you might
Yeah.
want it later on,"
Yeah, don't sell it yet, or be careful what you sell.
which is probably where all of my collector kind of
Nice. That's
mindset
cool.
comes
Best
from.
of luck to you guys in your career field. I mean, you guys are doing some exciting stuff too, and who knows what your jobs are going to lead to. Maybe one day you guys will be working for Mattel, and like you can help me get hired on so I can help make some great toys.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot about the toys, so somebody
Let you
hire
in
me
the
so I can
back
help.
door, you know?
Yeah,
Send
somebody
you all
help
the
me out.
leaks of the prototypes.
I was thinking of like starting my own toy company one day. It would be really
Oh,
cool
really?
to do, but I don't know, man. It's a lot of work. It's
Yeah, it's a lot.
it's like a lot of pressure, money, and like I don't know how to even start. But maybe one day, you know, you never know. Once I get older, maybe I'm like, okay, maybe I'll start a toy company now. It's my time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
but
see.
always the problem with that is though, like if you go to do that, you're
Yeah.
eventually going to become who Mattel is.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I don't want to do that.
it's like,
I hate.
yeah, exactly.
I don't want.
So like
Yeah,
that's the
bureaucracy.
problem with trying to make all those replicas of like
Yeah.
the Toy Story toys. It's like I know they're expensive and stuff, but it's like there's no way to make that so that it's able to be mass produced.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Which
It like
yeah.
has to be like a custom limited thing.
Yeah, like
Which I
Sideshow.
wonder if they would, yeah, I wonder if that would do well if they made like a limited run, limited to 1,000 pieces or whatever. Woody and
think
Buzz.
I feel like it would. I mean,
I
Disney
feel like
has
it
the
would.
power.
Yeah.
Disney has the power to do that. They just don't, because they
Like
find
a
it.
like a D23 exclusive or something.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they have done things kind of. I mean,
Kinda, yeah.
some of their exclusive Woodies and there are horrible.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
They're not good.
Or like the limited edition Buzz that they did for Toy Story 4 with like the green glow in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I love
it looks
that.
good and it's
Mhm.
awesome, but it's like, well, still, it's just another one
Yeah.
of the cheaper ones.
It was lazy.
Changed a little bit different.
It was lazy. It was just like a repaint, basically. That's what
Exactly.
It was just a
But then
repaint.
like,
Yeah.
but then they'll do like the small fry Buzz, and you're like,
I love that.
why don't
yeah.
they keep doing that? Because
Exactly.
that Buzz is top shelf content.
I have that right in my display case over here with my other buzzers.
Oh,
I love that
I
thing.
think that's probably some of Mattel's best work that
Yeah.
they've done.
I agree.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
like shockingly accurate. So
I know. I have two of them. I have
almost like
one mint
100%
and one open.
accurate, I think.
Yeah.
So
It definitely is. From inspecting it, even the screw holes in the back are exactly
Yeah.
what a fun meal toy or happy meal toy would be. So they
And
did a great
it's
job.
an actual black screw.
Yeah, you're right.
Thinkway, what are you doing?
I know. It's
Get
don't even
some
get me
screws
started.
on the back of Buzz.
Don't
Why
even
are
get me
they
started. Thinkway
Yeah.
did the best, but they still fell short of what, obviously there's a lot of things they could
Yeah.
have done better. At least the
Yeah.
arms,
that's actually an interesting point. Have you looked at Thinkway's site?
I have.
They've like scrubbed everything.
Yeah,
Like,
so they did lose the license officially on Toy Story. I heard because the whole point of their production was to promote the movie, so the movie promotion, that was
Okay.
what their contracts, what I learned, their contracts were only so long to promote the movie. So they have about maybe 1 to 2 or even 3 years sometimes to negotiate the contracts. And if the sales are strong, they extend the contracts from what I heard. But what happened was Toy Story 3 was their strongest profit margin. And then after that, it trailed off. And then Toy Story 4, they're like, we're back, we're better than ever. Although it was limited in the toy line offerings this time because they had to save money on production. Things got
Yeah.
more expensive to produce. They shot up from $50 to $89.99 at retail. So then they realized, okay, our profit isn't too high here. We're not selling as many toys as we did back in 2010. So we're going to have to cut production, finish our contract out for the rest of the year. 2020, they just stopped making them. And then they officially lost the license as of 2021. but they still produce the cheaper versions of the Thinkway, Woody, and Buzz, because I don't know what those contracts look like, but supposedly we'll still get a few of those. But then after that, there's going to be nothing by Thinkway until they make a Toy Story 5, if they're asked or come back for that. From what I heard.
It's weird that they took everything off of their site though, because you would think that there would be like a history of Thinkway toys where they would go and put all the things that they've done.
Something happened.
I'm thinking
I don't know
that they legally might not be able to.
Something happened.
Partnership with Mattel.
I think something happened. I don't know if it's good or bad or if it's normal, but you're right. It's odd that they took everything out. They scrubbed it. They've never done that before, because in 2010
have like nothing on their site.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Are they even still working? Like,
they're still working on other projects. I emailed their team and they still have employees that answer me, so they know about me and they know what I do. I don't know if they're too happy about me like manipulating their toys, but they acknowledge my presence and they're like, oh, we value your passion, blah blah blah. But they haven't really said much else from that.
Okay. Have you ever gotten like any stickers or anything from them?
I've never ordered the stickers, but I have gotten other replacement parts like the sheep from Bo Peep.
Okay.
I was able to get the sheep separately. So that was cool.
Way.
Yeah. So basically what you do is you email them and be like, hey, can I get a replacement sheep? Something happened with mine. They'll be like, sure, just show us a picture of your signature collection Bo Peep, and then you can buy this for $20 shipping, and then we'll send it to your house, something like that. So
wow.
Yeah.
Can
so
I
they
do
still
that with the collection Utility Belt Buzz?
So
because I have the box, I can say, I lost the toy.
So this is what I learned. They're out of RC parts, they're out of Potato Head parts, they're out of Rex parts, but I believe they still have some Buzz parts, Woody parts, some of the newer toys, and RC antennas. They still have RC antennas from what I know. So yeah, there's a few things they have and don't have right now. So you're gonna have to email them. Yeah, if you email them, they'll respond to you. They still have parts that they ship out to people, and you pay like a shipping fee, and that's about it.
So I wonder, like, could you say, can I get replacement Toy Story collection Woody boots? Like, is it like that?
You can ask that. Yeah, you can basically, if you can like say something's defective or faulty or something happened or I need a replacement because I can't find it, they're open to you. If they have the parts, they'll sell them to you basically for very cheap.
If they would do a Toy Story 5, if Mattel would just do it. I wonder how long their contract is for.
My problem with Mattel is that they skimp out. They don't even give us Lightyear on the chest for the Lightyear buzzes, and that really makes me upset.
Yeah, that's a weird.
Come on, give us the Lightyear sticker on the chest. That's like a main staple of Buzz. Come on.
Yeah, unless they're making it accurate to when he takes it off.
Yeah, you're right. Except it's not the Toy Story Buzz. It's a Lightyear Buzz.
Right. Yeah.
And no risk communicator. Come on, they could just put a cheap sticker. Just have it open. Like they have no risk communicators on the new Lightyear to Buzzes yet. So
really,
yeah, I'm pretty disappointed about that.
Yeah,
that's why you got to go with Hot Toys.
Exactly. They're gonna have.
They know what they're doing. They break out all the shots every time.
Yeah, I'm gonna be buying all that. So
my dream is to one day see Mattel make like a newer 2020 whatever version of a Woody doll. Just like I want not the Roundup Fun one, but like the full thing. I'm curious to see how they would do it.
That'd be amazing, actually. That'd be really cool. I
don't know why they don't. Because is there even, aside from Disney Store, does Mattel make a full size Woody or Buzz?
No.
So this is what I heard. This is what I heard officially from I talked to Dan, the Pixar fan. I'll give him the credit because he knows people inside at Mattel more than I do, and he basically told me that they do not plan to make full movie scale replica toys, and the reason being is because they make less money when they do that, and they make more money with a 7-inch figure line. So that's why you get a bunch of the cheap ones in stock at Target all the time, because those, they're like, think about it, parents will drive by the aisle, they're like, hey, that's $8-9 $10, I'll buy that for my kid. They want a Buzz or Woody, they're happy, company's happy, maximize profits, more money in the bank. So when they make bigger toys, higher production costs, more expensive to sell and produce. It doesn't mean they don't make those. They just rather make like a 10-inch scale,
right,
or anything to save plastic material, because when they produce these toys in bigger scale, more product, more money, more production, blah, 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 etc. So that's why they don't do it. And it makes a lot of fans unhappy because we don't have Thinkway toys anymore as an option. Mattel's not
Right.
producing it, so we don't really have a go-to now, except for, you know, expensive toys that are nobody can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now,
Part of me thinks like it will never happen again, like what
yeah,
it was in 2010.
it's
Not
possible.
only because of like the demand and I mean, you saw it happen with
Yeah.
Thinkway's line with the
Right.
collection one, how the quality slowly decreased over
Yep.
time.
It
And they
degraded.
changed the fabric and everything.
hmm
I don't think in the world that we live in,
Yeah.
plastic and those materials and stuff in the economy, everything's going to keep going up.
Right.
I don't know how we would ever get to the point where we're getting the same products that we did in 2010.
I don't think people realize this, but we lived the 1977 Star Wars fans' dream in a way for Toy Story. Like we were able to be alive and go to the store in 2010 and buy things. And I think we're gonna be those old people that'd be like, man, I wish I was alive when I was your age, and go, because I told my dad that, I'm like, did you know that if you would have gone in 1977 to the toy store, got all those Star Wars figures carded and kept them in condition, how rich we would be right now? Like, you know.
Right.
But same thing with Toy Story. It's like we had that opportunity in 2010, and you're right. I don't think we're ever gonna see that happen, at least not in our lifetime now, unless, I don't see it. I just don't. I'd be shocked. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see it either. I think this is a rare event.
The closest thing in terms of Mattel that I'd like to see is I think they should make more variations of like the basic figure Woody, different faces, different.
Yeah.
I don't know, like what else? Like Fruit Loop eyes, that type of thing. I think they should do. I don't know why they're not doing it as much, honestly, but
it's a missed opportunity. That's why I feel like if I was in charge of a toy company, people would be buying my toys and they'd probably ask me, how are you making these sales? Because I know what people want. And like, I just don't understand why these people up top don't see the possible demand for these things. I don't know.
To do more unique, abstract things.
Like I not to boast, but I have 70 million views on my YouTube channel. There's a reason for that. It's because people want these toys. They want toy mode Woody. They want toy mode Buzz. They want these things that companies are in denial about, and I just don't understand it. So I'll just keep making the toys best I can in my bedroom. You know, that's all I'm doing right now. I'm actually doing a Woody 3.0 mod right now because I'm still not 100% happy with this Woody, even though it's my 2.0 version. I'm gonna do one more.
Fantastic, though.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing Woody, and it's really lifelike to the movie. Everybody who sees it in person is like, dude, it looks better in person. I agree. It looks like Woody from the movie, but I know I could do a little better. And so I was working with my friend in Brazil, and we're going to do one more mod, and hopefully this will be the Woody for all Woodies. We'll see. I love them all, though. They're just really fun.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, they're really great. They're fun projects.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, good luck with it.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been working on it for 8 months, so hopefully, hopefully it'll be a good. Hopefully be a good video this time. It'll be, they're always fun, and I'm happy. So people don't care at the end of the day. I'm happy. So
I don't know if anybody would ever do it, but I think one of those accounts and people that make all those custom toys, somebody's got to like make some Buzz Lightyear Stark Man, like full size figures.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like give me a dark matter that's 12 inches. Like, come on. Give me a Miranova. Where are those?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, same thing with the Toy Story shorts. I wish we had Reptilius Maximus in full scale as a toy. We don't have that,
Seed Toys. I don't know. You.
Seed Toys. Yeah, he made one. He's making one or made one.
He's making one, and I DM'd him. I was like, hey, as soon as you make this, can I have one, please?
I still like my Toy Story QC Trixie though. I don't know why. It's a little brighter than the movie, but I just like it. I don't know. It's so cool. I
think that one looks fantastic. Yeah, I've seen. It's in those videos.
It's back there, but
What I don't know if you've seen this with Trixie, but it seems like in Toy Story 3 she's a little darker than she is in Toy Story 4.
Yeah,
it looks like the blue paint's a little brighter in the fourth film over.
I don't know if you guys saw my videos, but I do comparisons of each character and how they changed from Toy Story 1 to 4. So I've looked at the paint jobs for even Woody's face shape changed, because Woody had a wider mouth in Toy Story 1, but then it got a little narrower as time went on. Toy Story 4, it's like a whole new Woody if you really look at the pictures. But yeah, you're right. Trixie changed colors, Buzz changed colors. He changed,
and Slinky too a little bit.
Slinky changed. He changed as well.
They always change each movie, and you can always tell when you see a render, you're like, oh, that's Toy Story 2, Woody.
Dude, Bo Peep is the worst. Is the worst one. Like totally different
She
than Toy
did
Story
change
1.
quite a bit
Totally
for
different.
who she's supposed to be, and
No.
I feel like if you have that character
Yeah.
look like the way that she did in Toy Story 1, in Toy Story 4, I don't think it would feel right.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just me. And then I know people always complain about Andy and how
Yeah.
young Andy doesn't look
Changed.
right of how he's supposed to. And
Yeah.
like, I don't think people realize, or this is what I tell myself, but I don't think he's supposed to look like the way that he did in 1 or the flashbacks in 3. Because like, look at Molly in the flashbacks or during the recording in Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
She's an actual baby. And then in Toy Story 4, she's not. She's like 3 or 4 or 5.
She's grown.
She's got her own room. She's definitely not in a crib at that age.
Yeah.
So why would Andy look like the way that he did then? To
Yeah,
me,
he
in
grew
4, young Andy's supposed to be the transition between the model that he looks like in the flashbacks of Toy Story 3 to what he looks like at the end of Toy Story 3.
Yeah, I think they respected it because you're comparing 1995 to 2019. Like the tech, everything's changed at that point, and like you have to kind of
There's
evolve.
that too, yeah.
And it makes sense for me why they did what they did. They modernized things because things got modernized. You can't just use the 95 computer the whole time, even in 2019, so yeah, it makes sense. It happens, people were upset, but I don't really care about that. It's like, dude, just accept it's a movie.
I mean, his head sculpt's completely different.
Yeah. And that's what you'll get in life. People, I like to say this, like, people are going to always perceive things a little different. People are going to, there's going to be one product, but a million different opinions. So, you have to take it with a grain of salt. There's always going to be camps of people who I want the same movie over and over and over again. I want the same character over and over and over again. Yeah. But then there's going to be people who be like, well, I accept change because life has changed and people evolve and it's fine. Okay. So in closing, I'd like to ask, was there anything you guys want to promote, like your socials, your websites, anything you guys want to tell people where to find you or contact you? Or maybe you don't want them to contact you. Let me know.
Thanks for the setup.
Yeah. Shout out time, basically.
Yeah. If you want to go look at our channel, it's Toy Story 3 in real life, or IRL. Yeah, Toy Story 3 IRL. Toy Story 3 IRL is what the channel's called. And then Morgan's got the Pixarist on Instagram.
Yeah, that's where I'm most active. So go there.
Okay. And then that's got all of your Pixar needs. Mostly Toy Story, though. I don't know why I said that. Yeah.
Well, fans love that.
Yeah, I've got Mr. Blue Tie. He's a little clay blue dude that sometimes I do stuff with. I'd like to do more with, but it's so hard to find the time nowadays. And he's on Instagram, YouTube.
Nice.
TikTok.
Yeah,
everybody's favorite. Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. We'll just end it here. And, thank you again for being on the TodayIGrewUP podcast. These are new things that I want to keep doing on the channel. And let me know in the comment section below. And we'll probably have these guys on very soon in the near future. So, all right, guys, have a good day.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
You want the real Buzz Lightyear? You're an action figure.
You are a sad, strange little man. You are a sad, strange little man.
You are a child's plaything. Hey, Ham, look, I'm Picasso.
I don't get it.